Dale Earnhardt Jr. has joined us, and Dale, third in the points. Got a win a couple weeks ago at Michigan. He drives the number 88 Diet Mountain Dew National Guard Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And Dale coming back to Kentucky Speedway for the second time in the Sprint Cup Series. Maybe talk about this racetrack and how it's different maybe than some of the other mile-and-a-halfs that you race on.
Well, it's a little rough, and the groove's not real distinct, so you know, it lends itself to good side-by-side racing, and the exit to turn 4 is really, really wide, so you know, you just kind of play around and find a groove that works for you. Every time you change tires, you kind of have to be ready to move around a little bit and find where your car's fast, where that set of tires wants to run on the racetrack. But it's we've tested here a lot, you know, way before when you know, when the rules were a little different and we could test here. We came here quite a bit and got a lot of laps here, and you know, didn't have a real strong car last year. I think we were running like 13th when we had a flat tire, and just kind of, you know, feel like we're a better team this year, so we're anticipating running, having a good weekend, and just ready to get after it.
Questions for Dale. We'll start here with Lee, and then we'll go to Woody.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. You're probably Matt's best friend in the garage. Can you kind of assess the situation of, I mean, you know how heartbreaking it can be to leave an organization, but then you also know how sometimes you have to take that move. Can you talk a little bit about Matt leaving?
Well, you know, I think that, you know, the only thing I could say is that as tough as it is, and as you know, as many unknowns as there are about a move like that, more often than not, things work themselves out. You end up, really kind of everybody ends up in a better place. And so I would, I'd just be excited about the possibilities, and excited about a new chapter, you know, completely new surroundings and new people to work with, and you know, new ideas and innovation. So he should be, it'll be a little tough of a transition, just emotionally, and because he's, you know, been in the same place for so long. But eventually, it'll lead to better days, and you know, he'll find out that you know, things are going to work out just fine.
Let's go to Woody, and then we'll come over here to Marty. Go ahead, Woody.
Woody Kane with MRN. Dale, you've talked before about being kind of frustrated with the way the rules are, where plate races in Daytona in particular, that it takes so much of it out of your hands. Is there any reason to think things might be different this next time you go there, or things getting any better? How do you feel about that situation now?
I think things have gotten a lot better with the rules they made for this particular season. We're racing more, you know, we're driving, you know, we're not tandem drafting all the time, so your race really is in your own hands, and what you do with it and what you make of the afternoon is really up to you and you alone for most of the events. So I kind of like that, you know. That's the way I've always kind of thought racing should be, and racing's always been that way. We never had racing where, you know, you were so dependent on another car until we had the repaves at Daytona and Talladega, and tandem racing came around. That was just a, you know, I mean, it was okay to watch, and I think some of the drivers probably enjoyed it, but for me it was just the opposite of a driver's instincts. You know, everything you ever learn about racing, it was kind of the complete opposite of that as far as how you approach the event. So I didn't like it much, but you know, the rules have kind of moved away from that a little bit. Hopefully that's the way it stays. Hopefully we keep going in the right direction to get it to where, you know, it's you against 42 other guys, and and you know, that's the way it's been this year so far.
Let's go over here to Marty, and then we'll go to Bob, and then Tom. Go ahead, Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Dale, when you make the decision to leave the team that you're with to go somewhere else, this, you know, early in the year when there's still plenty of racing left, what's the challenge like for you as a driver and for your team to move forward?
Well, I think it's it just comes down to integrity, and you know, if somebody's low on integrity in that deal, that they'll show themselves, and that'll be unfortunate for whoever that is. But I mean, I wouldn't anticipate that happening. They're a good team, and they'll probably use it in some way to motivate themselves. Matt's a really tough competitor, and I don't see this deterring his ambition and his will at all. I feel like that he has one of the most seasoned veteran crew chiefs in the garage that can manage his program and manage his guys to do the job and keep doing the job. They probably, they'll probably work out just fine. But yeah, I mean, it does kind of test the personalities on board the ship a little bit. But I think that group will weather it just fine.
Let's go to Bob Pockrass, and then to Tom Jensen.
Bob Pockrass, Sporting News. This and Atlanta are the only two 1.5s left before the chase, and then you have 5 of those in the chase. So I'm curious, is there anything that you'd like to see this weekend as you kind of look forward to the chase? And in general, what type of steps or would you like to see over the next 10 weeks as you get ready for the chase?
For us, our team, I think just like to, we'd like to win another race. I enjoyed that one in Michigan, so we'd like to do that again. And it doesn't really matter where, but the 1.5s are important. But I don't really look at it. I mean, I don't really dissect the season like that. I just kind of, I always start out really well, then I struggle in the summer, and then I do pretty well at the end of the season. And the tracks at the end of the season are really the same or similar tracks that we start the year with. So I just assume that I like those tracks or do well at those tracks. So I feel pretty comfortable about the chase and the tracks in the chase. I didn't run as well as I thought I would here last year, and I don't really know exactly why we didn't compete well, but I think we're better this year. So I'll be surprised if we don't run competitive and have a top 10 car at the least this weekend. If we don't, if we don't have that kind of a competitive car, I'll be a little bit disappointed and concerned surely about where we're headed, what we're doing, and but we do that every week, really. Kind of every race, no matter what the result, we sort of evaluate what we're doing with our cars, how we're setting them up, whether what we're doing is working, whether the path we're headed is the right path. So, I mean, we kind of do that anyways. We're pretty critical of ourselves when it comes to the components and things we put under the car each week, and so I feel like we just need to kind of maintain our course, and I've struggled in the summer, and we've gotten off to a pretty good start aside from the road course race there in Sonoma. We've had a pretty good summer so far, so if we can keep that going, I'm going to be really excited about the rest of the season.
Tom Jensen, and then gentleman in the back row. Go ahead.
Dale, Tom Jensen, Speed.com. This is the first race at a 1.5 mile track with the new rules package. How do you think that's going to affect your cars, and are you concerned at all that Hendrick Motorsports as a group is going to lose any competitive advantage it may have had before?
No, I don't. I feel like that all the changes affect every team the same. I think that the changes to the side skirts are actually going kind of in my direction to help me. I like the cars to be, sliding around and slick and up on top of the track and difficult to drive. And that's kind of going in that direction. It's taking a little bit of the comfort out. And I think it helps Jimmy too. And so as far as our garage, I know a lot about, what Jimmy likes and what we're both kind of leaning towards with setups, and I think those changes are going to won't bother us. I don't think too badly. Hopefully not. But we've already ran for a while with a little bit of that adjustment and seem to have done fine with it. But you know, the rule changes just sort of drive the teams to do more homework, and homework costs a little bit of money. So you know, when we're cutting the side skirts off the cars, the first thing a guy thinks about doing is, how do I get the side skirts back down on the ground? And so we have to go home and cut all the cars apart to really get them to travel further and do all kinds of things. So it's a, you know, it's a little bit of a catch-22, but I think that it's definitely the right direction to go in NASCAR's case, as far as trying to take, the cars need to become more mechanically dependent on grip than they are aero-wise. And I think that'll provide a better racing product.